Will war between Iran and Israel occur and happen? Will Iran fold? Will Iran's axis of resistance fold? What will be the implications on the region and beyond? Will the ongoing, unprecedented crisis in the Middle East be a harbinger of a new world order? To answer this question, we have to unpack many themes and go back a little bit in history. Post October 7, 2023, when Hamas launched attacks on Israel, Israel embarked on attacks on Palestine. And then, in a mutually reinforcing dynamic of escalation, counter-escalation, the conflict, the localized conflict, has become a wider regional conflict with international ramifications. Now, in the latest saga, what started as quote-unquote the logic of establishing deterrence by Israel and the counter-logic of establishing deterrence by Iran by launching a volley of missile strikes on Iran, the potential for war is real and clear and present. Will war between Iran and Israel occur and happen? Again, the answer lies in the mists of time. But let us, for hypothesis' sake, say that Israel will launch a preemptive strike on Iran. Will Iran collapse? Will Iran fold? Will Iran's axis of resistance fold, its outer security perimeter fold, and what will be the implications on the region and beyond? Iran sees itself as a trans-historical force that is beyond and above history, while Israel sees itself as a techno-rational state within history. Now, admittedly, this is philosophical, but philosophies of nations determine their existence, determine their rationales, and determine their approaches. If the conflict is zero-sum, that is, either or, it's either Israel or it's either Iran in the Middle East, then what will happen? Will it happen? The answer, again, lies in the mists of time. But for the sake of analysis, let us unpack these two broad ideas. If Israel launches a preemptive attack on Iran with the intent of regime change, then will Israel fold? I doubt Iran will not fold. But the region will descend into an orgy of war and violence. Will this orgy of war and violence be beneficial to Israel? The question remains to be seen, or the answer, again, remains to be seen. Why is Israel hell-bent on regime change or launching a preemptive strike on Iran? Is it acting as a West's proxy? Is the West involved in it? Or why is it happening? The reasons might be ideological or interest-based. If these are ideological, then apocalypse awaits. If these are interest-based, then it appears to be irrational on every party involved in a so-called coalition of the willing against Iran and launching a preemptive strike on it. What will be the implications on the region? These will be stark. I'll start with economic implications first. There'll be a spiraling and skyrocketing of oil prices, which will impact the global economy through the transmission of monetary policy and interest rates and inflation thereof. Now, this will impact the global economy in very negative terms, leading to no gains for anyone. But this is the least of concerns. War ultimately is war, which impacts lives, impacts nations, and the destinies of mankind. What will be the implications and consequences of a wider configuration and war in the Middle East? The region will be a tinderbox wherein every nation looks out for its own survival, and a theme, dominating paradigm and theme that will define the region, will that be of war-like peace or peace-like war? That is a gray zone where no one is better off. Now, broadly speaking, what will be the implications and consequences on world order and international relations? It is a truism to state that crises are harbingers of power transitions. What do I mean by that? By that I mean when there is a crisis of regional and global proportions of a great magnitude, power relations between and among states get impacted. If this happens, there are numerous instances in history, going back centuries, when crises have impacted world order, international relations, and world politics, be it the Napoleonic Wars, be it World War I or World War II. Now, if this war, of course, it is not of the same magnitude as a world war, but a potential nuclear war, if this happens, the implications will be stark and ominous. The crisis will induce a power transition if that has not already happened. The power transition will be of a nature which changes the polarity or the power basis of the world. So, who will be the major actors in this world? But importantly, before I answer this question, the question is the world order, which dates back to the Treaty of Westphalia a few centuries ago, is a Western-dominated world order. If it is Western dominated, why is the Western world so hell-bent, if not in actually engaging in war, but according it implicit support? Will the war and its implications not lead to a crumbling of the Western-led world order? This is a real and distinct possibility. It might take time, but it can happen. The answer lies in the domain of the unknown. But it seems right now that irrationality in the Western world and across is the predominating calculus, which is aimed at using the ostensible rationales of establishing deterrence for regime change. Regime change will lead to a world order that is multipolar, which might be even a sanguine outcome. If world order becomes more multipolar, who will be the major players? The major players will be China, Russia, and the United States, which is not in absolute decline, but is in relative decline. Now, a multipolar world order, historically speaking and structurally speaking, is more prone to war. Now, which means that if war starts in the Middle East and becomes widespread, even if it is contained after its fallout, the world and its politics will be more prone to war. The world will be more prone to war. I'm repeating it and overemphasizing it because such are the consequences of the war happening in the Middle East. We cannot go into the deeper wellsprings of the war for constraints of time, but are there domestic reasons for Israel to go into war? Is it the survival of Netanyahu? Is the crisis engineering a consensus in Israeli society and imparting the state a coherence? Or is it something more? Whatever it is, it seems that if war happens, it will be the inauguratory prelude to a new world order, which might be Western, which might not be Western, or which might have elements of both Western and non-Western elements to it. Should war happen? No. Will war happen? We don't know. What should happen is peace, regional stability, and survival, and respect for diversity and plurality of voices in and across the world. Thank you very much.